Hi, I'm Marlene Robinson, and welcome to my presentation on my EBI proposal. In terms of introduction, evidence-based practice is a systematic problem-solving approach. According to Lindsay and Stefano, it integrates high-quality current evidence in conjunction with clinicians' expertise and patients' preferences to promote quality patient care. Many reasons have been cited for the use of evidence-based practice. Most common are to attain the highest quality care, to achieve best patient outcomes, to reduce healthcare costs, and to align with the rules and regulations cited by insurance companies. The purpose of this EBI proposal is to determine if the temporal thermometer compared to the tympanic thermometer will provide accurate temperature readings to change a nursing practice protocol. In terms of background, temperature monitoring can be a very difficult undertaking in students with special needs. I am a school nurse and I work with students with special needs. And I have found that over the years, it's been very difficult at times to take an accurate temperature. At first, we started off with using the oral and axillary thermometers. That didn't seem to be too effective, so I switched to the tympanic thermometer. At this time, I would like to consider moving to the temporal thermometer because the students tend to get a little irritated with something being placed in the air, and that makes it even difficult to get proper temperature reading. I also understand that inaccurate temperature readings can lead to false positive results, can lead to unnecessary diagnostic workups, and also to unnecessary medical treatments. My pickup question is, will a practice change in nursing protocol related to the use of a non-contact temporal thermometer compared to the use of the tympanic thermometer provide accurate temperature readings in febrile students with special needs? A review of the literature yielded many quantitative studies, but only one qualitative study that I felt was appropriate related to my pickup questions. I used different databases such as Chinel, Medline, and ProQuest. I also used keywords and terms such as axillary, body temperature, thermometers, tympanic, temporal. In my first study done by Fitzwater et al., temperature, the purpose of that study was to determine between the oral, the axillary, and the temporal thermometer which one would give accurate temperature readings. The results indicated that all three were worthy to be used and that they all fell within the certain restricted range that was set for thermometer readings. In the second study, which was an evidence-based study, this was done by Sims et al., 7 different types of thermometers were used, and the purpose was to find one thermometer that would meet all their needs. Well, the results were inconsistent because while some thermometers were okay for a certain age group, others were okay based on the site was being used. And in conclusion, they found that the best way to conduct this study would have been to measure core thermometers against non-core thermometers. However, they did find that tympanic thermometers were not recommended for children under 2 years of age, and that the rectal and oral thermometers were the most accurate. In my next study, done by Kernat and Thoma et al., electronic thermometers, again, axillary plus the tympanic thermometer and the temporal thermometer were compared. What was found was that the temporal thermometer was the most accurate, most fever sensitive, and less invasive. And so the temporal thermometer was selected to be the thermometer of choice for small children and infants. In another study done by Gates et al., and in this study, they compared 2 different types of thermometers. They compared the tympanic and the temporal thermometers against the oral thermometer. And what they found was that neither the temporal or tympanic were as accurate as the oral thermometer. In another study by Kelly, which is a qualitative study, and the purpose of this study was to get a better understanding of parental knowledge, attitudes, and beliefs regarding the management of children with fever. 23 parents were used, 20 were mothers, 3 were fathers. And in this study, we found 5 different themes based on the parents' assessment and management of fever, their knowledge about fevers, their beliefs, and the source of knowledge that they use when their child had a fever, and the pharmaceutical products that they use were of interest. The conclusion was that most parents have some knowledge about fever, but it was not in-depth knowledge, and that in order to promote good health and to help them do the best possible, provide the best possible care for students, it was recommended that they should be given more information about fever and how to treat it so that this can empower them to do their very best for their children. My proposed intervention would be, once I receive an IRB, which is an institutional review board approval, I would then meet with my mentor and my nursing administration and school administration to discuss the implementation of my EBI project and hopefully reduce any barriers to the project. Literature shows that nurses are not implementing the evidence-based practice as they should because they lack the knowledge, the skill, and the support of their organizations. There's the nursing and organizational leadership, in fact. Once I receive the letter of approval, the first thing I would do is build an interprofessional team. I will have a meeting and clearly explain the EBI project. I would use the pre-project assessment tool to determine the knowledge baseline of the staff and the people involved. I would obtain the necessary consents. I would initiate educational trainings. I will give a timeline for the EBI project. Then I will implement the project. Measuring outcomes. Outcomes will be measured using the Health Outcome Institute OM model or the National Quality Forum model. Apart from the above, outcomes will also be measured using input from my mentor, the interprofessional team, staff members, school and nursing administration, and participants. Outcomes will also be evaluated right after the implementation of change and also 2 to 3 months following the implementation as a long-term follow-up. Challenges, barriers, and limitations. One of the barriers to implementation is the lack of knowledge and lack of skill in terms of using the evidence-based practice model. So educational classes would be provided to address this problem. Many nurses would be concerned about their workload, and it would have to be stressed that hopefully this change implementation will not increase their caseload, but might even make it easier. The lack of the support of the nursing and school administration is also another barrier, but so far I've met with the principal and other staff members and everything seems to be okay in that area. In terms of problems, I found that I couldn't find enough qualitative literature to support my PICOT question, and that was a real concern to me. And also with the COVID-19 pandemic, that has placed a lot of psychological, social, and financial stress on many involved. Presently, the schools are closed. It's difficult to meet with parents at this time, and because of the issue of the pandemic, many people at this time is not really receptive to information regarding a change in practice. However, as soon as I receive the approval from the IRB board, I will get together with everyone so that we can start putting into place the EPI project. Dissemination of information. The information that I obtain from my EBI will be disseminated to staff and participants in a monthly staff meeting. Also, any information regarding the use of flow sheets and growth charts and so forth would also be given out at that time and explained. In conclusion, according to the review of the literature, the use of the temporal thermometer does not impose on the nurse's busy work schedule. Instead, it puts less demands on the nurses because it is easy to use, time efficient, non-invasive, and provides easy access, according to Sims et al. 2018. This makes temperature taking less stressful for students and adults. This will be a major benefit for my students with special needs. Using the temporal thermometer, however, we must keep in mind that the proper technique has to be used in order to get an accurate temperature. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you. On this page are the references related to my presentation. Thanks.